Life is a journey with problems to solve, lessons to learn, but most of all, experiences to enjoy. Terry Miller, a 59 years old woman, has dedicated her life to take care of international students coming to Arkansas Tech University. Everybody knows about Terry Miller as an ageless woman who always lives her life cheerfully. However, what she had been through to become a wonderful woman just as the way she right now is an amazing story of never giving up hope on yourself.
My name is Terry Miller. I am 59 years old. Retired about 2.5 years ago from nursing, and since then I have been able just to work with international students at Tech campus, doing things like we have a program called English Corner where we meet once a week and help the students practice their English. We cook for them and just make friends and just be family. When I was very young, we lived in Louisiana, and then we moved to New Mexico and for my father's job, and we weren't real wealthy. I mean, we didn't have a lot of money at all, but it was just my sister and I and my mom and dad, and we had a very good family life. We had a lot of love.
Growing up in a loving family is a dream of every kid. Terry Miller thinks she was blessed to be the daughter of her parents. However, happiness for her as a child wasn't entirety. Her father was always busy with his work and hardly spent time with her.
We didn't see a lot of my dad. One time my sister told my mom, because we'd gone to school and all of our friends were talking about my dad, and we hardly ever saw our dad. And we went home from school that day and asked our mom, did we have a dad? Because we hardly ever saw him. And so my mother told him, and he changed jobs. So we were more like a family. So we had a very good family. So a lot of love.
Everything was just passing through the little Terry Miller life so smoothly and happily. Suddenly it gave her very first obstacle to test her strength when she was just beginning her first school.
As I got older, I wasn't a very attractive child, and I had acne real bad and wore glasses, and children back in those days were very cruel, and a lot of the kids would make fun of me. They bullied me, and so I decided, I would fight back, and I became a bully. And I, would call them names because I knew how bad it hurt me, and I in turn wanted to hurt them. And so I used to get into verbal fights and throwing rocks at boys and doing all kinds of crazy things. So there was a boy that lived down the street from us, and we always walked to school. And he was behind us walking to school, and he was calling me names. And I just turned around and told him, I said, you're just fat, because his name was Jesse. So I started just calling him Fat Jesse, and singing a song and just making fun of him. And he said that he was going to throw something at me. And I said, I don't care. So I picked up a rock and threw a rock at him and hit him. And then he picked up a rock and threw a rock at me and hit me.
Just like other bully kids, she got in a lot of troubles with her teachers and also her parents. Later, she regretted about what she did to other kids, but she wouldn't want to change that time because it made her grow up and become a better person.
I got in trouble. I was always in trouble. I was in trouble with my teachers. I was in trouble with the principal. And anytime I'd get in trouble at school, then I'd go home and I'd be in trouble with my parents because And in those days, the teachers had more privileges to punish children. And so when I got punished at school, I'd go home and I'd have to tell my parents, and so I'd get punished at home also. I regret, because I know I can look back now because I'm older and wiser, and look and see that it wasn't good. But as a child, it's like you don't know how else to defend yourself but to do what's being done to you. But I think that all of these things that happened with me throughout my life is what made me who I am. I regret things just like anybody else, but if I had the chance to go back and do it again, I'd probably do it all the same way. Because if I didn't, I'd be a different person.
Teenagers is the most sensitive age in human life. It is a time when children should be treated carefully. However, for Terry, her teenage time wasn't as desirable as her peers.
As I became a teenager, I started having some memories of things as a child. That I started remembering of some sexual abuse that I had gone through.
The sexual abuse happened when she was a little girl. Even though it was ended, the memories and the consequences it left for her would never go away.
As a small child, I would say probably around, I still don't have a lot of memory of exact everything, but I can remember back when I was probably like about 7 years old. And I can remember, and up until I was 10 or 12. So, but to mind, I did a lot of research later and trying to, I guess, cope and understand what was going on and why all of a sudden I would have these memories. But as a child, your mind will kind of like shut down, or you have an escape, and so you just block out everything that's happening as a survival technique. But unfortunately, the memories of some of the abuse kept haunting me, and I kept trying to deal with it, and it was really tough. And I started turning to drugs and alcohol. For about 5 years, I went down a road with a lot of drugs and alcohol, trying to suppress, trying to deal with the memories or whatever, however I could deal with it, and that's how I found an escape. Through nursing, I realized that a lot of times this happens with people, when they have a pretty rough history as in childhood, that they turn to alcohol and drugs.
5 years stuck in drugs and alcohol, Terry was about to give up every hope in her life. However, thanks to her mom, she was able to find a way to escape and come back to life again by believing in religion.
I did drugs and alcohol, like I say, for probably about 5 years. And then I got into some therapy with a psychiatrist, trying to do some help get rid of the memories or coping with the memories or whatever, But my mother and my father were very influential with God, and they taught me about God. My mother, I know, prayed for me all the time, because she didn't know everything, but she knew that there was something going on. But I never felt comfortable in confiding with her. And so after a while, some of my closer friends that were good Christians would talk to me and tell me, there's a better way than drug and alcohol, and everybody that really cared kept reminding me, this isn't the way to go, this isn't the way to do. And so in time, I realized that.
With all of the up and down time Terry Miller had been through, her life story can be written in a book. Her childhood and teenage time were not the only tough time she had to face up. Until that moment, Terry's life, difficulties, and success have just only started. A successful woman is one who can build a firm foundation with the brick others have thrown at her. My name is Bing Tran, and thank you for watching.